Okay, cool. There's one thing that I want to do before I start that is I want to make sure I've got enough space. So I'm deleting some of my class files. Yeah, why not? I can always recover them later. Okay. I think we're ready to go. Okay, can everyone hear me? Thumbs up. Okay. This is kind of a, is everybody here? Yep. And Tammy is coming.
She's here.
She's here. Good. Everybody's here. Hi, Vaughn.
Hi, Joe. Maybe she went to the dress.
So this is kind of a little backstory. This is kind of a tribute to Nita. And I just taught a, what was it, 3-day workshop up in Central Coast Watercolor Society. And Nita came up because one of the days it was all about backlight. And so it went back to the bullseye way to paint. So we're going to cover 3 techniques today. And one of them is the bullseye, which I have a short clip on. There really are no videos on Nita except an old VHS that you can check out if you want. I highly, highly recommend that you get the book. This is the book, and that was included in the links that I sent you, and I gave you an Amazon link for this book. It's one of the best books. It's in my top 3, and it is in my top 3, and it's only $12, or at least it was on Amazon. This is the paperback version. I'm going to be referring to this today under the camera to show you some examples. There's a couple of other, this is just a compilation. It's a short video on 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes of her work. If you have not seen her work or if you're not familiar with it. And this was just another way to paint the bullseye. It doesn't have to be a target. So I'll show you some examples of that. So that's the first thing we're going to do because it's going to take time to dry. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to do the waterfall because it will lead to the ocean. So the waterfall is going to be sprinkle, spit, and have a waterfall paint itself. And this technique is, you probably already know, a lot of you who have been painting this painting for a while. It's strictly a half a spatter is what it is. And it is highly effective for suggestion. To me, that's what watercolor is all about. I do not paint in oil. I do some acrylics, but they are painted like watercolor. I use soft body. I don't use hard body. I don't do that because I am not good enough to put down every brush stroke. Watercolor makes me a much better looking artist because it suggests stuff that I didn't think of. And it gives me stuff. So be willing to change your direction, change your mind, take what it gives you. And that's basically what her book is about, how to let a watercolor paint itself or make a watercolor paint itself. I'm not sure. Anyway, you only have to paint half a painting. Those of you who know me have heard me say that 1,000 times. Let the watercolor paint the other half. That's the biggest cause for failure, is trying to do too much. Having said that, The last part of this is we're going to do the bullseye, we're going to do the waterfall, and then we're going to do the ocean. For those of you who could not get the syringe bottles or a bottle with a needle on it, I have some alternatives. I haven't tried them. I couldn't find my pen. If you have a pen with a nib, a pretty big nib, you could dip and do the same thing. But it's squirting paint through a syringe bottle. And please be prepared. Get an extra roll of paper towels. It's all of these techniques are going to be messy. So put on your apron, put on whatever. I'm giving you a fair warning. I'm giving you a disclaimer. So, and they're all fun as hell. So we shall see what we see. And I'm going to play this video first because I'm going to play both of these first. Here's just an example of her work. And I'll forget. So I'm going to remind you now. There is going to be, I don't know if it's going to be next month, but maybe there is going to be a part 2 because I am going to cover this 3 more techniques. One is stamping, which she uses quite a bit. And one is water resist, which she uses quite a bit. And I can't remember the other one, but I will get to it. More squirting, upside down wave. And you don't have to paint the ocean. You could paint, if any of you grew up or live in seasonal area of the country, then you know what patches of snow look like. And that is just like the ocean, only it's kind of, when you apply the paint, it's not quite the oceany, wavy stroke that you'll put down, but you'll see me, you'll see her do this. I have supplied each table with paper towels and reference for the only reference that we're painting from today. The rest of them are all going to be makeup. Anyway, did you get, everybody should have reference. Anyway, having said that, we're painting small. I'm painting on a 9x12 pad. Nita's always painting full sheet, which is kind of a big advantage, especially for the ocean. One, because you have more room to paint. So I guarantee you, and including me, when you do each of these exercises, they're going to require at least 2 sheets of paper for each technique, because you're going to screw the first one up. I guarantee it. If you don't, great for you. Anyway, having said that, anybody have any questions? Yeah. Questions? Anybody?
You're recording this?
Yeah.
Is this going to be available for us?
It will be available. The Zoom recording is only good for a couple of days, but I put it on my YouTube channel as unlisted, and that'll be good forever, or as long as YouTube lasts, or as long as it'll be after me. Let's put it that way. So that's going to be a couple of days. Yeah, Zoni.
You said eyedropper is fine too, instead of the syringe.
You can try it.
Okay.
It's a little bit wide. It's a little bit too wide. I think I'm going to try, mix up some paint. I'm going to try a stick. I'm going to try some sharp. I'm going to try a palette knife. I'm going to try a pen. If you have a big nib, a pen nib with a pen holder would be good. That would be my next choice, actually, but I couldn't find my pens this morning. So anybody who's doing that will just have to fake it. There's no worries about this. If you did not get the syringe bottles, you will. And then you'll know what to do with them.
Yep.
So anyway, it's pretty informative. Anyway, let me start with this little guy right here. And this is just an old video of her work. We painted this one in her workshop. By the way, this will keep playing. By the way, I've taken 3 workshops from her. She's the one that taught me how to paint transparent watercolor. And I tried to paint like her, or painted like her, as you all who've been to workshops know, for probably a couple of years after that. And then I gave up. I said, I'm too damn old. It's too fussy. It's just too much. So anyway, this will give you the look, a broad range of this. I've actually been to her house. She and I killed a bottle of Merlot by ourselves every night. We took a canoe trip, an actual canoe trip on the Gold River. She lives on Lake Superior, or she passed several years ago. And when I was at her house, which was a small house on Lake Superior, just her, she never married. It was the Gold River fed Lake Superior, and that's where we took our canoe trip. That was the master class workshop, supposedly. I think I was there to lug canoes. So anyway, her book lives on. She doesn't have many videos. She has one that's not very good, but anyway, so there's kind of that. I will send everything that we talk about. I will send you the links to. So that was that one. And I'm not going to do this one yet, but this is her online demo. It's 7 minutes. I'll play it through once so you can digest it for those of you who haven't seen this. And then I will play it in segments when we're actually doing the technique. She was brilliant at techniques. Also, she and I came from the same place. We were both art directors in Chicago, and she started doing her own finished art for Reader's Digest and then made the transition to a full-time watercolor artist. This is one of the techniques that we'll explore today.
Start with the far off.
There we go.
These are small. Oh, by the way, I mixed some blues and yellows in here to make a sea color. These are small waves in the background. Then when you get more in the foreground, they're larger waves. And just
that's on dry paper. Dry paper.
Then I using a spray from the Windex bottle. This one it doesn't have a name. It isn't a sprinkle or a spray. It's kind of a sweeping spray, but it turns all of this into, look, it's turning it into the sea, into waves. The only thing you have to know when you're doing this exercise is which way you want the waves to go. And other than that, you just watch what it does by itself. You see the white caps forming. Anything that happens by itself happens more gracefully than you can ever paint it.
Okay, did everybody get that? That is why you let watercolor paint itself, because it happens naturally as opposed to you trying to force it to happen. And that's what makes me a better artist, because it's better than I could try to paint all that suggestion. And that's what it is, suggestion.
In fact, I don't know how you'd set about painting this. I'm doing 2 things very carefully here. I'm making sure that I have some white a profile of dry paper and white near the horizon. So, because this is establishing the horizon. Then,
I will say this now, and I will say this when we do it, is the first thing you're gonna do is not have any white paper left. And so you're not gonna see that. So you're gonna overdo it, which is usual when you're learning something. You gotta know if you're skiing, you gotta know how far to go before you fall down. So,
when it's running this way, wipe the edges. When it's kind of settled down, not running too wildly, I briefly turn this way on its end. And the color from this will establish the sky. In other words, this is where the sky meets the sea. You see why it's so important you leave some dry areas so you can see where the sea begins. Answer me, right? Okay.
yes,
Okay. Also, it gives you ideas of where a light source can be coming from, or a typhoon or something coming down. As you work and observe what's happening, it gives you a lot of new ideas that you never would have dreamed of if you just started out painting a normal sea. See, all this stuff just did it itself. And look at that that rock. The rock, it just
so that she has several examples in her book that are quite good. You could never paint the same. You can't copy what happens here. Anyway, we'll throw some rocks in or whatever, but it's mostly about the technique. The rocks is just putting down some color and using your palette knife and scraping it for rock texture. You all know how to do that.
just did itself. You set it up and it does it. What happens to many, many people is they don't dissolve this enough and they have it too red on the palette. And then it gets streaks, red streaks. And Windsor yellow is liftable. I mean, Windsor red is liftable. You can lift it, but it's a big pain in the neck to do it. So it's better not to get streaks on it. Then cobalt blue. And this can also be overlapped. And the cobalt blue is, so we make a big bullseye here. And I always tell my classes, if I see anybody going out of here with a bullseye on their paper, I'm going to pretend I'm not their teacher because we're going to get rid of this bullseye in a minute. Tip it.
Okay, the bullseye is backlight. It could be the sun as backlight, which that painting, which I will pass around, the one that you're looking at in your reference, that's exactly what that is. But it does not have to be a bullseye. It can be an ellipse. It can be a slash. It can be a bunch of different shapes. Does not have to be a circle. And we'll cover that.
On end, and I'm spraying, starting from outside, spraying towards the middle.
No,
Just let it
no.
run down right through the yellow.
Oh
Towards
my
the middle.
God.
Turn it this way. Can you all see? You can't see in the mirror. Turn it this way, right through the middle. Turn it this way, through the middle. Because it runs through the yellow and then runs out again. This way through the middle. And then here, gonna wind up letting this blue go through the middle. And letting all these colors go down the street. At first you saw how fast.
So there's what it looks like. My God, look at that. That's pretty cool. Do not worry about today. Do not worry about we're painting this mangrove swampy thing. So don't worry about having a perfect bullseye background because it's going to be covered up with trees and all kinds of other stuff. So, but she's painting a street light here. So there's street lights. It could be, when we do this, I will again remind you and recommend that you reserve an hour or two some day of the week, close the door to your studio, get out a half a dozen sheets of paper and tape them all down and do at least a half a dozen of these. So these are your backgrounds. These are your underpaintings. These are your light source. And you could put anything on top of this, anything, as we all see by light. And that's how we see things. So it's just your source. And also just to tell you that, yes, this is one of the things we had to do in her workshop.
Last I had to move this because it's really running very fast. Put little step in here before we go on to the next thing, so this can be dry.
So there's some buildings in there that's in her book if you want to paint this.
And
I'm not going to
you
go
see
into this because we're not doing it.
And kind of match, then it gets pretty orange.
But it was a great way for her to
Mix some of
figure
this
out
brown
how to
together.
paint this scene from London. And because the buildings were all atmosphere, the buildings were never painted. The windows were, but the sides of the buildings were never painted. They were part of the atmosphere. And so you see that glow. So all that gray you see on here, she was the masking queen. All this gray. And that the mask that she used, which we're not going to cover today, was PBO, PEBEO. And I use it to this day when I mask, which isn't very often because it's gray and you can see where you masked.
Because it'd be totally different than the yellow and red that you mixed previously for the other ones. So this gets a little more pinky over here. This is where
And I think I have a
I'm down. And this
I think I have a pic of this in a reference folder, but if I don't, I will put it in there. I've got a ton of stuff I added to reference, and that's where all this stuff lives, and that's where you can post and remove. You're the moderator in Cluster. I sent everyone an invitation to Cluster. And yes, I sent everyone an invitation to Cluster. All you had to do is click on the link to join. I will resend it with all the stuff that the debrief from today and the things that we talk about. Where do I get PBO? Where do I get this? Blah, blah, blah. So, and that is it for this. So let me still share. I'm going to minimize this. There we go. This is my camera setup. Here's the book. And I think y'all can see this. First of all, let me go through this. I forgot to do this in the handout, which the reason I send these handouts is for you to print them out for reference. So please print them out for reference. Otherwise, join Cluster and you can see it on your phone or iPad or whatever you want. So where this is the bullseye, this is the waterfall, this is the ocean. There's your supply list, which is mostly just your usual stuff, except for this syringe bottle. And there's reference for one. There's a reference because that's made up. For the waterfall, well, there's an actual waterfall. Here's some more. I've painted this several times. They're all different. One's tropical, one is not. This is actually, this lower left is actually rice paper, that random holy rice paper, which I just collaged on top of it. That's kind of cool. Here's some interesting stuff just on oceans. So that is the handout. I also made a little video of myself painting these guys, which I'll show to you later. This is what I just painted. And this does not have to be this pretty. This is one of the best ones I painted. I painted a lot of them. It doesn't have to be this one. my red that I use on my usual palette is cad red light, and it seems to stain. It seems not to blend. So just use a red, yellow, red, and blue, and I will show you why, because I did several paintings using the bullseye from the yellow family, from the red family, and from the blue family. It is not those specific colors that she had in her video. So just try stuff. Anyway, so there's that, and that is the light source for this. Turns into that. Again, I've painted this several times. I think this was from a workshop. So there's your bullseye back there. Do not be worried about whether it actually comes off or not. So how do I get this? Oh, Lordy. There. Now I can put it back. So don't worry, because most of these light sources, you're going to be covering them up. Let me go to my the cluster folder, which I recommended for you all to join. It's a tribute to Nita. So here's the gallery. I added stuff. So here's all the reference. By the way, I did this at the college I teach. We were doing a Cal Lutheran scape. They all had to do it. They had to paint at their favorite spot on campus. This is out the back door to the studio where I teach up there. And this was my bullseye. So you can see it's not perfect. I added some. Here was my photo reference. I added some, but a lot of that was covered up with trees. So don't worry. Don't fret too much about that. Here's all the ocean stuff. I think I did do a tropical version of that waterfall. That's not it. But when we get there, I'll show you. You can also do rapids with this using the same technique for that water. You can also do cherry blossom trees using that same technique. Here's some things that I put in there. I love this one from Nita. This is from her book, how she painted that. And you can see that most of it is painting itself. There's some salt. There's a little salt, which I don't usually like, but she's painting full sheet. And this is coming up in part 2, not today. This is part of the water resist. How do you paint that whole field of wildflowers in front of that mountain in the background? So all of this stuff is in your reference folder, and we'll add more to it. And that's where you can post up in the upper right-hand corner and cluster. You'll see post, add photos. You can take it from your camera roll. You can take it from your desktop, drop your photos here, and then you can make a comment. Am I done? More red, less red, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so it's very easy to use. Here's an example of, here's a couple of examples of one I did. The second one that I did, I'll show you my first disaster. I added some dark. I didn't wait long enough. Here's where I made the sky out of what the paint was left. And I did use my palette knife to put a few marks. I lifted a couple things. It's very easy to overdo, but you'll see that I left enough white paper. So that's example 1. This was the second example where we put in some rocks. This was done very quickly. So you can see that it does look like white caps. It does look like ocean water or lake water, stuff like that. Here's the one that I just did using these bottles I filled up. By the way, I'm giving for all you Zoomers, each table here has their own syringe bottle to use. So sorry about that. I couldn't do any more. And those speckles up there, they're going to be birds. Why not? Anyway, I'm going to put a big oil rig out here just because I live in SoCal off of the coast of the Channel Islands. Anyway, so this could be anything you want. And I just put, I thought I put this one in here. Interesting. I guess I didn't yet. Oh, here. This is an example out of the book. This is the same technique as the oceans, these fields back here. This has got glare on it. I'll show you the book. These fields back here, those snow patches, for you who remember what winter is, I know it's cherry blossom time. So you can use this technique for more. You can use all these techniques for much more than just what we're going to do today. So anyway, that's all in cluster, and I will resend that link after the workshop, along with everything else. So if you have a question, remember to just press the space bar, I think, or unmute yourselves. And I'm going to minimize you and bring this up, and I will show you some examples. This is the book I'm talking about. How to Make a Watercolor Paint Itself. It's got tons and tons and tons of stuff. I'm going to say that that's a beautiful painting. Very difficult. Seems like very difficult painting. Well, how could I ever paint that if you're standing there on the river? How could I ever paint that? Well, she kind of solves all that, because all of this is suggestion. There's not a lot of painting. There's some figuring out where to mask, where not to mask. It's got all her, I retired my butcher tray. I used that for a couple of years because that's what she used. Here is the ocean. In the part 2 of this workshop, we'll be doing the upside down wave thing, but here's how she starts, just so you get some kind of an idea. And here's what we're talking about. This is actually one of the oiler boilers full of phthalo and Payne's gray. So I mixed something that would show. Here's that final painting, and I'm pretty sure that's in reference if you need a guide to figure that out. If it's not, I will put it in there. And here's the 6-way wash. Mine is not quite that neat. Here's another application of that. That's 12-way wash or something. I don't know. Here's some stamping, which is not today. There's the water resist, how to do that. Anyway, this book is well worth it. And here's that ocean technique back here for these fields. You can see it a little closer. So this book is fabulous. As I say, here's some stamping. It's a great way to suggest a bunch of stuff without having to paint it. Anyway, yikes. She was pretty prolific. Anyway, there's the book. I will pass this around for you to look at if you want. Here's an example of what I just did using these. I was just testing these bottles. But the first thing that we are going to attempt to do is this. See, I got that, but you don't have to worry about that because a lot of this stuff is going to be covered up with stuff, trees, whatever. Here's an example of what it could be covered up with. This guy. So there's my light source. And then I just made a path and whatnot, so on and so forth. So I'll put that there. And so here's my latest. But here's what I did. I experimented, of course. That's my nature. So this was using Indian yellow, pyrrole red, cerulean blue, Naples yellow, naphthol red, verditer blue, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, and ultramarine. I really like that look. Cad orange, quin rose, phthalo blue, gamboge, quin red, phthalo blue, cad red light, cad yellow, cobalt blue. Those are kind of her colors. That is a disaster. Same thing. I tried it again. It's a little better, but this is cad orange. So that was my yellow. And that takes the light down. Okay, that's at it's 10 minutes after that reference in that mangrove because it's twilight now. The sun's going down. So I don't need that bright yellow. It's not there anymore. So I need the glow. So that was cad orange, quin rose, ultramarine blue. And here's one that I just started. So you don't have to do the bullseye. I just did a slash of light, let it all run back and forth into each other. I did another slash here, and I just started painting. This isn't finished. This might just be nothing, but I just started painting something on top of it. So I turned it into a canyon kind of river. As an example, I will probably take these at some point in time and do paintings on top of these. However it goes, just for fun. So anyway, that was my experimentation, and you could do that. I reminded you that set aside an hour, a couple hours when you're stuck, and just do a bunch of these. You know, you don't have to do big ones, but just do a bunch of these. You already have the colors already on your palette ready to go. So just try it. And then, oh, add a little yellow to that red that you picked. Make another color out of it. Add a little red to that blue that you have. Make another color out of it, a purpley color, you know, just pools of paint. And so I cleaned my palette, which I almost never do. Look at that. That's me. That's actually my palette. So I'm going to mix a puddle of yellow. I'm going to mix a puddle of red. I'm going to mix a puddle of blue because I want to have those ready to go. So I'm going to get a clean sheet of paper. And here's some. You said you just had hot press?
Yes.
Okay. Here to get you started. Here's cold press. So tape that. I tape this around. You don't have to. I tape it around the edges because it looks better when you're demoing to have a instant mat. By the way, I have a mat you can see later. Oh, here's one I'm going to use one of those bullseyes for. I painted this before. This photograph's off the internet. I painted that before, but that would make a really cool kind of. In fact, I'm going to use that slash light one, or whatever I did with it. I'm going to use this guy and turn it however I want. So that's just one example. It's just a light source. It's an underpainting. So I'm going to just take this off and you guys can just get set up. And we're not in a hurry today. I want to make sure that everyone understands. The water, clean water is in the blue bucket. Dump water, dirty water is in the orange bucket. Please do not confuse the two because I don't want to lug another bucket.
You wet the paper first, Joe? You wet the paper?
Yeah, I'll show you, yes. But not, don't do it yet because, it's got a lifespan. I'll do the first one, and you can paint along with me. But I'll tell you what I'm gonna do before I do it. And then you can experiment on your own. By the way, let me show you, I do not like this painting. That's YouTube. But let me show you how somebody else used this, because when I was looking for videos for Nita, this came up, and this is just a 1-minute clip so everybody can watch it. Look how she's doing the Nita. That's not a bullseye.
Abstract watercolor painting. I show you how to paint this cityscape sunset scene with buildings. Painting buildings with a plastic card is what I'm doing here. And I'm going to be using some spritzing techniques and tilting to create reflections, using the plastic card as well to create the look of buildings.
I just wanted you to see the start of this.
If you want to watch the real-time tutorial, check out the comment section. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. This is a quick clip of my latest abstract watercolor painting. I show you how to paint this cityscape sunset scene with buildings, painting buildings with a plastic.
There you go.
When you're making your wash, how thick?
The paint, because you already have, that's a good question. So somebody asked me, how thick is the paint? And the paint, in fact, I will show you later on. Remind me to show you the watercolor clock from Joseph Bukvich's book. In fact, if I go to cluster, I have several cluster folders. I'll show you the one from Central Coast. Oh, that's YouTube. I'll show you the one from Central Coast, and that's where I included it. I'm pretty sure I have the watercolor clock in there. Well, I thought I did. Oh, that's another one. Anyway, maybe it's in my reference folder. Yes, I have plenty of stuff. I have 5,000 things in my reference folder for classes. By the way, I was just at the doctor's office, and this is a painting I'm going to do. I put this together via Photoshop, but that'd make a great painting. Anyway, I'll go back to a tribute. I don't know what I did with the watercolor clock, but I will find it and show you in an email. Okay, watercolor clock. That's my first note to myself. Oh, PBO. And a watercolor clock. Because you have two things in Joey Z's book, Joseph Bukvich. He made reference to how thick your paint is, pigment to water ratio. So he starts off with water or tea, and then he goes all the way to butter. So in between there is coffee, cream or milk, cream, and then there's another one, and then there's butter, which is right out of the tube. So that's all your consistencies of your paint on your palette. By the way, it's watercolor, it's not colored water. So it's going to dry 20-25% lighter, so don't be afraid of that. And the other half of that equation is how wet is your paper? Is it dry? Is it wet? Is it damp? Is it moist? So those two mixed together is going to tell you how much water to mix pigment to water in your palette. So we're going to work on really wet paper. So you need kind of a creamy consistency in your palette, in your paint. So I'm just going to make a puddle here. And I'm going to mix my paint first. And there's some yellow, and I'm just going to use my CAD yellow light. So I've got enough of that. And I'm not gonna use that, my CAD red light. I'm gonna use a alizarin. So there's some alizarin, and I want to make sure that it's all mixed. I don't want any paint. I don't want any paint in there that's gonna cause it to streak. Thoroughly mixed. The color that I'm gonna use ultramarine. There's some ultramarine. I'm going to make a fairly good sized puddle of that because that's usually what happens most around the edges of this. And I want to make sure all of those are thoroughly mixed. I'm going to clean my brush thoroughly. Try to get all that blue and red out of it. And so I'm ready to go, except I am going to use my spray bottle, and I'm going to wet my sheet thoroughly. I'm going to wet this thoroughly, soppy wet, because I want the paint to move. So I'm going to spray this. You can sponge, you can do whatever. That is pretty wet. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. Here's how glistening it is.
Do you want us to paint along with you, or are you gonna give us time afterwards to do this?
Oh, you're gonna have plenty of time to do this. I want you to see it
So
first.
just watch now.
Yeah, because you gotta do this, you gotta do all these techniques fairly quickly. So there, my paper is soppy wet. I mean, it's wetter than normal. I'm not gonna even give it a chance to settle. So I'm gonna pick a place for my light source. I'm rule of thirds. So in fact, I can just do it this way. I'm rule of thirds. So it's going to be there, there, or there. I'm going to make it here. So I'm just painting some yellow. And I'm painting my kind of bullseye. I'm leaving a little white in the middle of it. Now I'm going to start painting my red around that, and I'm overlapping. I'm overlapping those strokes. And now I'm going to paint blue, and I'm going to start the blue out here because it's going to get contaminated by that red. Want to make sure you have enough paint. And I'm going to overlap. Now, oh, that looks cool already. Now, what I want to do is I want to get the water moving. So I'm going to take my spray bottle. I'm just going to start adding water. And let it run through. And this is where the mess comes in. So I'm letting this all run through. Keep the paint moving. So you look at that already, it's getting that beautiful glow, huh? So I have a light source. I'm going to let it run to the edge. If I need to help it a little bit, I'll just spray it just slightly. But this is really pretty wet. That's pretty cool.
That one really worked out.
Yeah, I lucked out. I lucked out under demo. I think I am going to let this drift and run for a few minutes. You can start now that you saw me do this. And I did it fairly quickly. I made sure the paper was wet enough. And when this finally starts, and it will kind of stop running, I'm going to drift it into this corner. By the way, if any Zoomers cannot see this or I'm out of frame, please unmute yourselves and shout out. I am going to let this, I'm going to
We can
put
see
this
it.
over on the floor. But what? I'm going to put this over on the floor at an angle and just let it continue painting itself. In fact, I'll just do it right here so you can kind of see it. So I've got gravity. Gravity is the only way watercolor works. Otherwise, it's just puddles. You all got to have a gravity machine. So anyway, there's my, hey, I lucked out. I lucked out in front of everybody. Yay. Don't try to paint perfect stuff. It just not going to work. It's just let it paint itself. If you got a piece of hair in there, forget about it. Take it out when it's dry. I would do two. I would split your page in half and do 2 and 2.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I would. Don't do it too big to start with. I gave you the paper. Yeah.
Like that.
Use enough color on your palette.
Enough paint, you think?
Yeah, that's good. If you need to energize your paints, have a spray bottle. And as I say,
Oh, first we'll wet the paint.
yeah, you gotta have, that's what these are on the table for. Your paper should be, did you wet your paper? You did?
Yeah.
It looked dry.
I read it.
Oh, it's soppy wet. Soppy wet. I'm using the cold press paper.
Okay, so I should do one at a time. Or both
Yeah.
at the same.
No, I do.
One at-
Just see how one works. If you haven't done this before,
Right.
just see how one works. Spread it out.
Better have some clean
Spread it
water.
out with this.
Joe? Do you have any spare water bottle I can borrow?
A water atomizer.
Yeah.
You just use this one.
Oh. Never mind, Joe, you could use mine.
Oh, okay.
We share. Cause oh, and did you have, had it at an angle, right?
I'm
The
sorry.
paper is at an angle, not flat on the top.
Yeah, well, you could paint it flat, but you're gonna pick it up right away and start moving it around.
Mhm.
Pick it up, if your paint's starting to dry, make sure your paint stays wet so it'll move.
We don't need a blow dryer, do we?
I'm sorry?
We don't need a blow dryer, do we? A
No,
dryer?
don't use a blow dryer.
Okay.
Not on this one. See, I'm getting a little thing right here because of the paper. So I'm just gonna spritz that slightly. But I don't really care about that very much. I've got that glow light source. I've got that. Just enough water to keep the paint moving. And on this one, we're painting that swampy thing. So you don't really have to worry too much if it's that perfect or not. I'm just going to let that alone. Let it paint itself. Follow your own advice. That's going to work pretty good for the swamp, I think. I'm gonna let it dry at an angle. Yeah, why not? There we go. Perfect. Wanna go
All the
get-
way down?
Huh?
You have it-
Keep moving it, spray it, spray it, spray it. Just keep adding water to keep that moving. I have two ways to spray. I have this mister, which I love, and it's an atomizer, and then I have the vaunted Windex spray bottle.
My wet is not wet enough to be warm.
Did you wet the paper first?
Yes, sirree. Tried fast.
Okay. Go put it over the table, so you don't make a mess here. I'd rather have you take that.
Oh, feel free.
Okay, done. I'm gonna forget about that one. Done.
West or where's my color?
I think my circle fell.
Who's got the, here? All right.
Oh, look at all the nice color on that. That's all wrong. Was I very serious?
Yeah, you gotta get it moving. You gotta let that color run through each other. See how it's running through each other? So pick it up, move it around,
Is this done?
do that. Do that.
Then do I have to pick, like, if I'm gonna do a landscape portrait yet? or what's later?
Do you what?
Do I pick how I'm gonna use it
Hmm.
yet, or it doesn't matter?
No.
Keep,
Yeah.
keep doing that. Take a paper towel, wipe up that.
I don't,
See how it's,
is this too much?
Start.
Water.
So,
starting
yeah.
moving it.
No, I
use
think I
this,
lost my
now I'll get it
bullseye.
back. from you.
Huh? Did I lose my bullseye?
Tell you what,
Did I lose the bullseye? It's too watery?
oh, you're okay.
Is it done?
They're all gonna be different. Well, you're gonna puddle there because your paper's buckling. I would keep turning it for a few minutes until it's kind of settles in.
Uh-huh.
See, mine's kind of settled in. It's still a little bit wet right here. So I'm gonna, because of the paper, watercolor paper buckles. Nita Engel was also doing an advantage because she was working on stretched paper. So it will never buckle. And that was the biggest pain in the butt for her workshops. She had to stretch paper. So that's, yeah, there you go.
Joe, it leaves streaks.
Oh, that was.
I'm sorry, do we have questions?
Yes, it leaves streaks for some reason. You get a smooth surface, but I got streaks.
I know, because I'm lucky. Don't worry too much about the streaks. I've done this several times. So the more you do it, of course, like anything, the better you're going to get at it. So it's usually a matter of water. So keep spraying it, keep moving it around. And I made sure my paint was thoroughly mixed before I applied it. And I applied it to a very wet surface. And I overlapped the strokes. So I'm sure your second one is going to turn out better. And your third and your fourth and your 24th are all going to turn out better.
Yeah, because my yellow disappeared.
Well, if it's wet enough, add some more. Just play with it, push it. This is a lab we're doing today. All my workshops are basically labs. You're okay.
No?
You got the glow, just,
Do you want it to flow all the way to the bottom or just try to?
I don't want to, I'm just trying to get you to see this paper is drier right here.
Yeah.
It's already drying. So I'm just trying to move the paint, but you're fine actually the way you have it there because you're gonna cover it up. You don't have to make these too perfect. They're more about the value of the whole background. Yours is a little dark. You could,
Yeah, where's your sticker, Mom?
it's a little red, but
It's
yeah,
only
I
a
would just,
mistake.
I would just spray it.
If you don't learn from it.
This is a time to experiment. Don't try to make it, I mean, it's the first time you've done it, and this is probably the 20th time I've done it.
This is too light.
Yeah, it's,
It's too much.
but it's okay, but you learn,
Yeah.
learn from it. You all got a sticker, right?
Yeah.
So. My sticker said, if it's only a mistake if you don't learn from it. So as long as you learn from it, it's not a mistake. You know, one of the most difficult things to do with watercolor is trying to do a flat wash. How many people have
Yeah.
tried to do flat washes and it's got streaks?
I
It's
know.
got blooms, it's got
Yes,
whatever.
this is not working. Too wet.
I'm gonna go fill this again.
Yeah.
Could I add color to it now or?
Yeah, you
should
can
I-
add color to it.
Okay.
It's wet enough.
All right.
So,
Just play, just try it. I don't know the answer to.
Right.
Oh,
Just to make
yeah,
it
make
darker.
sure that paint is thoroughly.
yeah, I decided it was not. thick
Yeah,
enough
there you go.
before.
That's the reason that you get streaks is because the paint's not thoroughly mixed and overlap your strokes.
Better?
Yeah, that's better. Don't you think?
Spray it some more?
No, just keep looking at it and see which way to turn the page. You know, because it's gonna start running. Parts of that page are gonna dry out before the other ones.
I need another, do you have another board I can borrow for this, or should I wait for this one?
You need another what?
A board?
I have a piece of cardboard. If you need
Oh,
it.
here.
It's so-
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, look. Actually, I have darker
Just
than
put it
that.
on.
I don't know. It looks like a different red.
When I get some water.
Not in my yellow.
How? It's just a dot.
That's color. Yeah. That's fun.
You know, the more you paint these, the better they'll become is because you won't care. You'll just start slapping paint and letting it paint itself.
Mhm.
So you don't have to try to be too awfully careful with these kinds of things. And most of these are going to be covered up with whatever you're painting on. This is kind of your underpainting, your light source, your backlight, your slash light. So most of it's going to be covered up anyway, but it's going to make a difference in your paintings. If you started off all your paintings instead of a white sheet of paper with something that like this that had a glow or a light source, and depending on what you're painting, you could use, I could use yellow, red, and magenta. I mean, I could do an analogous family of color. I could use teal, cobalt, and ultramarine. If that's the mood I was looking for, or whatever. Does it make sense?
Joe, can you also,
Yes.
after you've been spraying it, can I then add a little more color in?
If it's wet enough, just try it and see, because watercolor is all about timing. That's the reason
Okay.
people go to oil painting. Watercolor is a risk reward medium. So take the risk and see if you get a reward. And if you don't, then did you learn from it? Yes. You learned that, oh, it wasn't, it was too dry, too wet, whatever, too much, not enough, whatever. So it just
All
comes
right,
from
great.
that dreaded P word, practice. And don't throw these away, even if you don't like them, because they will, once they dry out, they're going to look a lot different. And you're going to be able to find something to paint on top of them. A scene, still life, figure, doesn't make any difference. There, there you go. See, you got it moving.
So I added a lot more paint too.
It was yeah. Well, there you figured it out.
Better?
Yeah, better. Just keep moving it. I would add more water.
You want it to still look like a bullseye in a way. You don't want to lose the yellow all the way, right?
Don't forget about trying to make it look like, yeah, there you go. That's better, isn't it?
Yeah, darker.
Forget about the bullseye. Don't try to make a target.
It means E.T.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You'll learn from this by how you applied the paint to start with. All you're looking for is a glow.
Mm-hmm.
All you're looking for is a light source.
Remember, Nita says, if you leave with a bullseye, I didn't teach you right.
Yeah, that's because you didn't mix your paint well enough.
I love this.
And
Getting nice results.
I'm sorry.
I said, I
I'm
love this.
sorry. Say again.
I love this. I'm getting a good result.
Oh, good. Gee, I'm glad somebody is.
I read the book last night. I bought the
I'm
book.
getting a good result too.
Yeah, there you go, Zoni. I would advise doing not painting big stuff today, because it'll take longer to dry. It'll take whatever. I would much rather have you do 2 paintings instead of 1. So you can split your page in half or whatever it takes. There you go. Mimi, you're on the way. Yeah. There you got a light source.
Is there ever a time that you're combining this with the masking fluid to preserve the complete whites of the paper?
Sure. She did it. She did it in that building she was painting, that street scene.
Hi, Zoni. And this,
Yeah, it's in the book. That's her example for the yeah, there you go, Carol. You could, as an underpainting, you could, you're one of the few, you're a good painter. You've been painting for a long time. I would probably make it lighter the next time because this is my underpainting.
Hmm.
So you can still do that if you add water. Ask, you're muted. Carol, you're muted.
Yeah, I was too. Joe, I had started off with, it looked like more of a bullseye and it was a little too defined, so I just added more color and sprayed and blended. Is it now it's like a lot more color and just
Yeah, it's why it's more interesting, huh? And you still have
Okay.
you still have that light source.
so it's okay.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
no right or wrong.
Okay.
There's
It'll
no
work.
okay or not okay.
Okay.
Depends on
Okay.
what you're going to paint on top of it.
Yeah, no telling.
That's why I
Okay.
say what you should do is plan to spend an hour or two and just get out a bunch of paper and have it ready to go and just do a bunch of these.
That sounds great.
And they're all kind of going to be different. You know, you're going to get bored with the bullseye and you're going to say, well, what if I did this? And what if I just made a slash? And what if I just made
Yeah.
a triangle? You know, an amoeba, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
or multiple light sources. You know, I've got 3 different light sources because I've got all these street lights going down the bridge.
Yeah.
I did 4.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway.
I think it's beautiful. I mean, look at mine.
Okay, I'm going to give you till 11:30. That's about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna, because I want some of this stuff to be drying for lunch.
It's
Okay.
it's what we choose to paint on top that really does matter.
Yeah.
So this background, it doesn't.
I can't believe it's.
The bullseye.
There we go. Okay, I'm gonna just set this guy over here. It's pretty much dry. It'll be ready to paint on later. And I'm gonna set up a clean piece of paper for the waterfall.
You should have had another board.
So wait for it to.
Oh, here's another.
So you're gonna take
Use the
advantage
back.
and stick it here.
No, it can't
Oh,
use
and
the
then-
back because this has to dry.
I have boards.
Here,
Oh,
I
would like one. I have no board.
have a piece of cardboard if you want.
Yes, but. Oh, Lord, that doesn't matter.
This is another of these bullseyes that I really like. This was just a big ellipse or slash of light. There's some boards and stuff up here, plus I have more. I don't remember the colors I used on this, but anyway, I kind of like it. That's gonna be my canoe guy. That canoe with the forest back here.
Can be perfect.
These were done very roughly. I have a better one that I took more time on, but this is kind of what we're after. We're after this background. We're after this background back here because we're going to put all this stuff on top of it. Here is a.
So that it's doing this, is that okay?
Don't worry, you can try it, spray it off. I mean, when I get that drip starting to happen, I just add a little bit more water, not over all of it. I just want to get that drip moving.
That's what he's
There you
talking
go.
about.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
that's the drill. So you want it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where this is where you're headed. So it'll be fine. There you go.
I want to see.
It's okay. I like laughter.
My squirt bottles had a squirted. No, it's small and.
Oh, yes, I see that.
So a glistening paper, but not soaking wet, right?
You do it slowly.
I'm sorry?
A glistening wet paper, but not soaking wet.
Oh, it's glossy wet.
Okay.
It's and you're gonna be adding more. It's glossy. I mean, it's wetter than you normally would think.
Right.
You really want that, you really want that paint to disperse.
That didn't hurt. Too big.
Beautiful. Leave it at an angle to draw. Put it on your little bit.
And don't forget to change your water. Mine's pretty,
Schmutzy is the word you're looking for.
in fact, I'm have to go get some more water. While you guys are finishing these up.
No, this is something I have to practice.
All he said, take an hour.
Last night changed.
Yeah.
And I left my tape because it's still in the other bag. But spritzer stinks. Without Susie, we'd be lost today.
No, I changed too. I don't even have a pencil. My pencil and eraser.
So I have pencils.
I didn't like this.
It's from art. It's got this like pocket. And now it's got everything. But boy, when I get back, they're gonna.
Just make it know what to get into the
Zoning.
Hi, Zoni. What?
Oh, much better.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Over at whose house? Cheryl's? Oh, Cheryl's, yeah. Put one on the other hand and you're not on
Boy,
speaker.
these are dangerous.
What's that?
Okay.
Oh, the tree,
Little trees.
or what do they, I forget, they call them,
Low calorie, low.
I already had one, but
I would
it's
go
getting to
for
the
it.
time
Yeah.
where I need another.
Oh, I heard it. I want to get back to my. Okay, good time.
More water. Oh, good. You know where everything is. Okay, this is not in Nita's book because she didn't do this. I started inventing this for rivers and stuff. Turned into waterfalls after her classes or after her workshops. And the first thing I'm going to do is you can do this, but you don't have to. I'm just going to do a larger than life example so you can see how this works. And you will definitely need a spit sprinkle spray bottle for this one. Not your atomizer. You can kind of get the same effect by spattering, but you can't control spattering. I can't control it nearly as well as spray bottle. But I'm just going to sprinkle with it. And do not worry about streaks. Do not worry about anything on your bullseye as long as you learn something from it. You're going to cover most of it up. I showed you an example of my less than quality bullseye with this example, and it's in your cluster folder, tribute to Nita. Here is my, see, look at this. So, but I knew that I was going to be painting this over it, and it made it better. It gave me some nice, interesting shapes back here. So that's all I was after. I was after more the time of day than anything else, and that was value. It
We're
wasn't
seeing
about color.
we're seeing
We
your
only
face.
see
You're
you.
seeing it?
We're not
Oh,
seeing
you're not
the
seeing
art.
me. Thank you for
Got the
saying that.
Screen share button.
No, we're seeing you. We're not seeing the
Uh,
artwork you're referring to.
Okay, good, good. Okay, now you can, right? Now you can see me?
Yes.
They're different colors.
Okay.
Still pretty light.
Tell me, I'll be like Nita. Do you get it? Yes. She was funny. Anyway, you see all this stuff happening. I didn't necessarily care about that because I knew I was going to paint over it. And it made really a more interesting shape. So I sent Trudy, I sent that to you this morning.
Thank you.
I think this is still.
I got to take this real quick.
Oh, you got the.
It's 9:59, Trudy Cruiser Esposito. I didn't get the Zoom link. I'm sitting here trying to log on. Any suggestion?
Trudy, our Trudy's there. So that's forget it. I'm calling you. Cool. So you get to see this example. So that's not a perfect whatever. It doesn't make that much difference. It just made it more interesting, right? Yes. Right? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, okay. Can everybody see this? Yes. So I'm going to show you the yeah, those will work.
All right.
Those will work.
I was just gonna ask if this bottom one was too light, but
No,
I
just
think
go
it's
set it
fine.
out in the sun or set it aside or whatever.
All right.
There you go. Is that the same water?
Colors.
Different one? Hey, you learned something. It's getting better, isn't it?
Yeah, that was good. This.
That'll work.
More, more cream in my coffee.
No, I didn't actually mean put cream in your paint. Okay, I'm gonna draw 3 shapes here. I'm gonna draw a shape like this. And that's one rock. I'm gonna draw another rock over here. That's a different shape and a different size. And I'm gonna draw a rock that's a different shape and a different size there. So this is kind of what I'm after. And I'm gonna clean my palette. There we go.
So should we just be watching or should we be blocking out these shapes?
Now, I think you should be watching first, because this is a timing thing. And it's difficult sometimes to watch and you miss something. Make sense? Okay, I'm going to mix up some creamy paint. I'm going to use some Payne's Gray. I'm going to use some phthalo or whatever blue you want. But my paint is fairly creamy because I am going to add water to it. So I want it kind of on the thicker side. And I'm painting on dry paper. And I'm just painting flat. And who's got my spray bottle?
Oh, here. This one.
Oh. Bobby. Okay, this is my spray. And in this case, it's going to be my sprinkle bottle. Can you can't see it on that board. Here, can you see it here? See, I'm hardly touching that. There is
Light spray.
it's not a spray, I'm spitting.
Spitting. Big ball.
Sprinkling.
Yes, barely,
Yeah,
barely.
I'm sprinkling, and you will see why.
That was
So,
my main question about the.
Here's how to get all that bubbly water up here. As it goes down, waterfalls aerate or aerate. And see this. So this is the bubbly water up here. And then as it goes down, it's falling and it picks up air and it gets much smoother. So I'm going to sprinkle up here or spit, and I'm going to spray down here to complete that action. And that's how this was done. And that's in your reference folder. So I don't want to overdo it. I want to keep that white paper. So again, my paint is pretty creamy. And these don't have to be exact. I want to make sure that there's enough paint on there.
Don't worry about
For this to work. In fact, I'm not sure that that is enough paint, so I'm just going to add a little bit more to it. And this is my start. And now I'm going to sprinkle. I'm going to just do the edges. See how that bubbles? See how that's making that bubbly water? And then I'm just going to let it run. That's going to make the waterfall as it goes down. And also, look at that. That's a nice design right there, actually. That's kind of cool. I'm just going to bleed those off. And then I can go back. This is a big example of a giant example. Look at all this little stuff that I'm getting right here. Look at that drip that just happened. It's all painting itself. I'm going to put some form to this rock.
Awesome.
I'm going to put a little form to this rock right here. Maybe a little bit right here. And there's my waterfall in about 2 minutes. Now, what I can do with that is as it's drying, it's still wet. I really like what happened here. I like all that little stuff. I'm going to add some dark through here, and I'm just going to let that drip down. I'm going to kind of outline that rock. I like that shape. It's kind of cool. I can also, spatter a little bit. That is a pretty decent waterfall, I think. I want to break this up slightly.
Could you move your painting a little more to the right? Thank you.
How about that? Oh, sure. Thank you for
Perfect.
telling me.
You can see.
See how that's painting itself?
In real life,
That's
or video.
That's pretty cool. So all you got to do is put that into a setting, and I'm going to leave gravity work. I could put this into a setting, so now I've got falling water. And I could do the same thing with a different perspective for river. I could do the same thing, and I'm painting it like the river flows. You know, I'm actually holding it like the river flows, like I'm holding this, like that waterfall. It's flowing that way slightly. That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good waterfall in no time. Then you can go back and you can embellish, and you can do a bunch of stuff. You can get, if you're a realist painter, I'm going to put a little dark right here, at the bottom of that, and just see what happens. If you're a realist painter, you can go get your reference, but you get a hell of a start. I'm going to put a little water right here and let that just drip down, paint itself. There we go. Blooms are going to be great with this. Doesn't really make any difference. And also, I think it's a time that I can do this. I'm going to sprinkle with this, especially over here, and you'll see a different pattern. Look at that. You see all that just happen?
Yeah.
All this, all that, all that. Now, a lot of that's going to go away. And when I do demos, it's overdone. But you can do that a little later, and you can also spatter on top of this if you want. Like I did on this one. That's just white paint spattered. But that's pretty cool. Anyway, I've lucked out twice so far. I did a good waterfall and I did a good bullseye. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, I hope that makes sense. And this is, again, you're going to need more than one sheet of paper, because you're going to probably screw up the first one by overspraying. What did I do?
I'm gonna have it again, Mom. Want a piece of my paper.
I'll use it.
Do you want a piece of my paper?
I'm gonna have one.
I think maybe this is about half that size.
Don't sit in big, but it looks like, Joe, is that phthalo that you use?
I use phthalo and paint spray together.
That's what I thought.
Here, why don't you put your paints and your stuff on that side?
Well, she's right, but she's right.
Oh, well, I'm talking about you're not using.
Oh, yeah,
paint.
yeah. Oh, thank you.
That's the top of the paper before you fold it.
Okay.
Sometimes that makes a difference. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, you guys go ahead and try this. Just draw 3 shapes, small, medium, and large, and try to arrange them like you would think a waterfall might work. And this is what Nita's legacy was after, is how to make a watercolor paint itself. So that's all this is. That's all. Everything we've done so far is paint itself. It's a half and half. You've got it started, and then you let it paint itself, right? Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everyone?
Did you wet before?
No, it's dry paper.
Dry at, I just do it. Yeah. And you did paint spray and.
I used, it's
Halo?
just a dark blue. You could use a Prussian, Antwerp. I dirtied up my, or darkened up my phthalo with, paint spray just because I have it on my palette. You could use cerulean, you could use anything, but that's a pretty neutrally kind of, color, I think. Then you can let this dry, go back and, you can embellish, put little waves on it, do whatever you want to do. But again, I would at this point leave more white paper than you think. Always. In fact, I'll say that about any painting. You can always go back and color it, but it's really difficult to get it back. I'm gonna do you a favor.
And then while it's still wet, that's when you start spraying? While it's.
Yes, if your paint is thick enough and you tickle the edges, I'm gonna say tickle the edges with your spray bottle.
Because the edges of the paint,
Of the rocks you just
the
painted.
rocks.
Yeah, that's the bubbling water that's hitting the rock and causing it to bubble. Right? Doesn't that look like, to me, that looks like waterfall rapids, the top of it at least, the bottom of it gets real, soft and blurry. Yeah. Just, yeah, thanks.
Did you start out with dry paper?
Yes, dry paper, gotta be dry paper. You can tell because see all the hard edges. I've got a hard edge here, hard edge, hard edge. All I'm doing is tickling those edges and letting gravity make it run downhill. And then down when I get into here, I'm spraying it. Up here, I'm sprinkling. Here, I'm spraying more. I think it's how a waterfall works. I love waterfalls, not to just paint. I just love to go waterfall hunting. Some beautiful parts of the country, just, there's a whole book. Huh?
Mix this blue with this.
Just something dark, black or peach gray, or just something darker. It
Right.
doesn't make any difference at this point.
Okay,
By the way,
now-
you should,
Now we've got this.
before you start painting, you should spray your paints. Refresh your paints.
I don't know that my spray bottle's good, so.
Oh, mine sticks, you know.
Just try to hit it very lightly.
Mine really bad.
And your painting,
Discovered it.
Maybe you're right. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
you should see that,
Like this,
is that too dry on you?
I just put it on.
Oh, okay. Let me see. It should be, the paint should be wetter. Is that? Oh, you're getting it.
I think I can see the ice, I think. Huh?
You're getting there. If the paint's wet, it should, bubble.
I don't know that the sprayer is.
Well, that's,
Yep, it's
that,
paving.
that's why she has, that's why she has, her Windex spray bottle.
Yeah.
That's her magic Windex spray bottle.
It's hard to find them.
This is probably 25 years old.
Huh,
I know. The only way you can find them is at a 7-Eleven, a Circle K or something like that, where they don't have a big footprint to put items, gas station.
It's like a
And
small.
then I think they changed the nozzle.
They did.
Yes, that's the problem.
That's what I think too.
Change the nozzle. So, I got.
So you're just looking for something that spits. not sprinkles, that you can just tap and make it spit.
Oh, no, that, I think I got this right.
This is the last
I'm not sure.
of my blue.
You're okay.
Like this?
Yeah, it's just, it's a lab. This is a lab.
Right.
So, I'm just tickling the edge.
Tickling the edge.
I think that's a good way to put it. I'm tickling the edge. So I could be painting, anything. I don't care what it is. I'll mix up some more paint.
Mine became older.
Here, this is just paint. Okay, that's just paint. And all I want to do is make sure I've got enough paint on there. And while it's still damp, that's just a slash of paint. I want to tickle the edge. I'm just spitting along the edge. See how that's blowing up? There we go. It's kind of what you're looking for. Look at that, it painted itself. It's really easy to overdo it. So let's put it that way. It's the same principle as if I did this. So I'm going to just sprinkle or spatter some paint right here. I'm just spattering drops of paint. I know it's hitting some of that water. I'll do it up here. So I've got that rock, and now I'm gonna spit or sprinkle. Look at look at that blossom. Look at all those blossom. And that's how you do the cherry blossoms. But that's what I'm looking for, is that.
It'll spit.
Making fun of it.
Don't do hard pull. It jams up, and that's what causes it to spit.
But I think I've.
Test it on paper towels first.
Well, no, I think my painting is already too much.
This one this one's like the same one I have. Oh, yeah, I was gonna say.
That
like,
might
it's,
be any more
you know,
dark
let's
blue.
skip it and let it get.
Well, we should do that dark blue,
It
but
like an air bubble, you know? Okay.
I am
and it
happy
kind
with
of
it.
interrupts the.
If anybody wants to borrow this.
I was about to throw this away too. Cause it wasn't,
Nice.
but it's great.
You saw how close I was. Just paint forget this one. Just paint a shape up here and try to tickle the edges. Paint a shape first. No. Paint the shape. I don't know if it'll work now because it's wet.
Huh. Okay, let me
Yeah,
try
paint
again.
paint a shape that has hard edges on it. And then try to
Do some more hard to.
tickle the edge so it blossoms.
Thank you very much.
Hey, look, there's a waterfall on my palette. This one. Look, there's my waterfall.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
And don't blame me if you go, don't blame me if you go home with phthalo blue fingers. I've had them for like 3 days now. Now I could take this one and I could take a little of my white paint and my dirty brush. This brush. Just for effect. And you do not always have to do this for your brush, for your spatter. You can actually control your spatter. There,
Is that water or white paint?
White.
that's just white paint. I did that, I threw it. In fact, I was throwing pine branches at one of her workshops. And she saw me do that instead of just spatter. And she said, well, you're a good painter.
Nice.
And I always took that, yeah, I always took that away with me, even though it was, what the hell? Where is my spray bottle? Oh, gonna melt that off a little bit. There we go. That looks more natural now. Look at that. Wow. Everybody's is gonna be different. Don't try to paint, don't try to copy mine. I mean, I just started out with 3 shapes. So everybody's is gonna kind of be different. Here, use this. See if you can tickle the edges.
So I'm all out of blue, Joe. Should I?
Here, what color you want?
I don't have phthalo anymore.
Tick the edge. And then.
Plus, this is that.
Squeeze some out.
You apply the white.
There is no magic color for the waterfall. You could use Quinn Rose and make a pink lemonade waterfall if you want. It's just what do waterfalls look like to you?
Thank you.
They're cool. They're blue.
Can I use your white? White.
Yeah.
My white. White, what?
The white paint.
He hasn't used white paint yet.
You did. You weren't
did.
watching.
You were?
Yeah, I just did this and
Did you-
I threw it and I spattered it.
Oh.
Oh, thanks.
Huh?
Do I apply water to this, Joe, or no?
So white. You splattered
It depends on how opaque you want it.
it.
It's already opaque white.
So you have to dilute it.
Yeah, I just put my brush in it and swab it around until I think it's about right to release paint. And it was about right to release paint, so.
Mine's so thick.
You know, we're painting with more than brushes. We're painting with chopsticks. We're painting with syringe bottles. We're painting with our fingers. We're painting with palette knives. We're painting with anything that makes a mark. So you kind of lost your rock, so I'm gonna paint that darker. You know, so you see some of the rocks there. See how that looks like it's
That's better than the first
yeah, of course. Second one's always better.
one. And then, did you smear it? No, just let it go?
No, I didn't touch it with my fingers at all.
The white,
I just sprayed it a little bit in that one spot.
spray the white.
Yeah, and it's running down just like a real waterfall.
My rocks disappeared, so I just put paint back on there.
Okay, this afternoon or after a short lunch break till 12:30, then we'll go back to finish our swamp painting, and we'll finish our waterfall painting, and we'll start some ocean painting. Okay, and I have that all mixed for you. And as I already told you earlier, I don't care if we go beyond 2. For those of you who have a schedule, it'll be videoed anyway, but anyway, I want you to get this stuff. So remember your sticker. It's only a mistake if you don't learn from it.
There. Now you can. No, keep it pressed.
Oh, hello,
Joe,
Joe.
Yeah.
No,
he's gone for lunch.
he's gone for lunch.
Hang on.
Is Joe there? Just ask.
Is Joe still there? Hey, you
Yeah.
know, my waterfall looks like 2 people.
He said it's
Oh,
lunch
there you
until
go.
12:30.
Boy, see, you have a painting already.
You see, I mean, that doesn't look like a waterfall. It looks like 2 people.
Well, that's because of your, and if you intended it to be, it looks like 2 people kissing. Oh my God.
My God, what will the world
That's okay. It's,
That's okay.
I don't care if it's a waterfall. I'm just trying to get you to figure out the technique.
Okay.
Yes,
All
you
right.
you could make that you could make that into 2 people. Those both look like falling water to me.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Do you think you could demo that thing again, please? The three dark shapes and the spray.
Say again?
Could you please demo the beginning of the waterfall again, the rock, and then the spray?
Okay.
Thank you.
It's not a spray, it's a sprinkle.
Yeah,
Okay,
sprinkle.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I missed.
It's not a spray, it's a sprinkle. So I just did that. Again, I'm gonna put this on one last time. So my paint is fairly thick in consistency. Here is here's a rock.
You know, Joe, we can't see you on Zoom. We can only see the class.
Okay, thank you for telling me that. Yeah. So here's a rock, and this will be on the video. So here's a rock that I want. Here's another rock that I'm just going to slap in there, and here's a third rock from the sun. Anyway, so there's that. Who's got my?
The white's here.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm just going. I'm spitting. I'm spitting with this, and can you see how I'm just lightly spraying the edge? See that? See that? See that?
Yep.
So that's all I'm doing.
Sprinkling the edge.
I'm spitting.
Spitting.
Yes, the edge. The
Yeah.
edge. It's going to overlap up in here. You see all this stuff that's happening here? It's
Yes.
beautiful. I didn't intend for that to happen, but it's quite beautiful what's happening.
Yeah.
And
I think so too.
And then how do you make the thing flow down? The paint.
just spray. Now I can spray. Now I can spray. So now I'm not spitting, I'm spraying.
Okay. All right.
See, I'm sprayed.
Yeah.
See, so the difference between that and that.
Yes.
And now I can go back and I can put the top on my rock. There's my one rock. Here's another rock that I can just do maybe a. So there's that looks more natural. There's another waterfall.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can go back and I can let's try a little spatter. I'm going to try to get a little dry brush.
Yeah, I saw that.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So there's another waterfall.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Thank you.
Pretty, sure. Pretty cool. I'm going to put a little dark right here and leave it alone. Let it paint itself. There, it's better. Yeah, it's painting itself. And I add a nice big drop of water right here, just so it starts to bloom. I'll see what happens with that in a little bit. Okay, lunch break. Or you can keep painting, that's fine. Leave that there. Close that up. I'll leave this here. There you have two different waterfalls. Similar, but different. It's always going to be different. So I'll just save those for later on and I'll make paintings of them. Make them into paintings. Some kind. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Do you think I should try to catch more
I have
darker
no,
edges?
I have no idea.
All right. I think it's a good start.
Yeah, there's a start, yes.
Yeah.
If I were, no, I would just
Just
watch it, watch the magic happen.
Sure. No, that's all right.
Or not under a deadline.
Right before you said to the class and the Zoom people, you know, I thought, well, you know, it's continuing to move, so it's painting itself. It's not a disaster. It's continuing to.
Yeah, you don't know what the end's gonna be yet.
Yeah. Cool.
Yes.
I'm gonna put it in the sun.
Yeah. It's a good day. It's not raining out. We got sun here, so we can let them dry in the sun. Steve did not make it.
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did? Oh, good. Oh, I see you now.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm just hiding myself.
Yeah, I do that. How you been? How's Seattle?
Yeah, not bad.
Oh,
How's your brother? Is he still up here?
oh no, he passed.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that was actually, it was a good thing. He was not in good shape. That was last January. So I am still, I'm coming up this summer to finalize some stuff. Takes
Ah,
forever.
and how old was
Cover.
he?
Same age, 81. We're twins.
Twins. Wow. Mm,
Yeah, we were twins.
yeah.
I guess we still are.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I get up there, I'll give you a call.
Okay.
This one is still damp now. So I'm going to, I think you could still see me. Can you guys see the,
It's like ants.
yeah, I'm just going to sprinkle on top of this damp and see if I can't get those little, there we go. Look at that. It's only going to happen when it's damp. So it only happened right there. That's what this was.
In traditional Chinese painting, they do some beautiful ones. Yeah, I know.
Lunch until what time?
12:30.
Want to get some light on? Got
15 minutes, what, is the farmer's market still there?
No, they close at noon.
No, then there's no place that we can go in 15.
Do you have any food in your car?
No, eat some pastry.
Alright.
How lucky to eat some pastry.
Right up on
Next
meals.
Tuesday.
You can be back, you can eat same time, Burger King, Wendy's,
Oh, right.
if you're into that.
Yeah, after class, we can enjoy ourselves. And
Alright.
go somewhere, sit down.
Oh, is this, there's more of these?
Yeah.
Yeah, just not, just do it, you know?
Alright.
Okay, I'm gonna try this again. Now is this, Joe, two bullseye? So
But that'll be okay.
my others are not bullseye at all, and so I thought it should be more.
Hey, you learned something.
Yeah, so.
There you go.
I mean, I totally asked you before.
And
If we had time. If we had,
going this way?
or you can go,
Oh.
if we had time,
Yes.
then if you had time.
Yeah.
I'd say, I
Organic.
kind of like it. I mean, it's a different time of
Okay.
day. It's crude sunset,
Yes,
but if you wanted it lighter,
Thank
let
you.
it dry completely.
That's fine.
I can try to get
Just spray it with water.
Because it's protein and
Oh.
it'll hit me more. Thank you.
Let
I
it
love
dry completely though.
It is, no.
Nice one.
Not really.
Yeah, why is it so dark?
You can always light, you can always lift.
Are they a different fire?
Oh, they're
Excuse
those,
me.
what are they called? There's really-
Okay. I will make that. Thank you.
How's your mom?
She's much better. I'm down there mostly to myself. That's why. What is it? That's why it's really hard. But if you go, see how that is. They're organic and they don't have that sulfur on them. So they're not. That's pretty. And that.
Does anyone have any questions about what we've done so far? Do they all get the sprinkle? Do they all get the bullseye? I don't care if you succeeded or not, or I don't care, as long as you understand the process.
Yes, not successful, you know.
That's why.
Like my rocks are a big boulder. The bullseye on every. Not successful, but yes, it's a nice big board.
Well, as long as you learn how to do it, that's all I care about.
With more practice, it'll get better.
Yeah.
How you been, Pam? I've been fine. How are you? Good.
Well, I saw Netta had I think that's how you say her name. She had a board probably bigger than this with a whole sheet of paper
Mhm.
with her ocean technique.
Yeah, I have these at home. I'm gonna change my bag. I had everything out, and I was throwing things. Yeah, that's right.
It's fun because they don't sell them as nice anymore.
Yeah.
Now they sell them, the clips are like real tiny and they have
Yeah.
a little latch and it's like, what? These will like take a
I
finger
know,
off.
you gotta click whatever.
You know, like I'm careful to not catch something in here because it'll scratch you.
I read is probably to what's doing that.
Thank you for the nice board.
That's what I think. Yes.
I'm gonna put this in some. So it doesn't get weird on the bottom.
I don't know why. I think not that one. Thank you. It's not rushed. It's. You know, I'll pick up something down. Well, not downtown, but the farmer's market. No, that's my problem. What is it noon? Oh, this is noon? I thought it was 2. Is it noon yet? Oh.
So you have to keep your eyes on the clock and leave.
And these went to nothing.
Yeah, the only food they have besides vegetables and fruits and things,
They had some like
tamales.
tamales right there. Oh, girl, there's the ham sandwich.
Okay, this is.
Should have prepared better. I would just leave it. Well, if you want to take that. I better take. They're not cute. I mean, nice, cute.
Oh, really nice.
Yeah, I like this one too.
Very emotional.
Hello.
Where
No,
is your?
this is where after we do the workshop.
Our home, the home we grew up in, this and house and line. And she still, you know, at the house.
Want some information?
So, I'm just the next time we have a class here. We had a small place. I want to take the next class right here.
Oh, okay. Well, these are workshops, classes are
Oh.
Monday and Wednesday.
So hard for me to ride.
Allergies today from
So I.
winds for the past few days.
I have a thing with me, like a.
Oh, I've already taken an allergy pill and I'll use those guys. It takes a while for it to work.
You know, the other thing, so I was like, this is a fixed day right there.
Oh, did that work?
Yeah.
Oh,
Works great.
ah, I gotta try that.
Have you thought of renting out your window and staying with mom? Or they got a place down there.
Okay. Please, please, please remind me, everyone, I am going to pause the recording. Recording. So here's the watercolor clock. Here's one version of it. So there's tea, coffee. The right side of this is your paint. The left side of this is paper. So what is the consistency of your paint? That's very weak. Pigment to water. It's mostly water. This is straight out of the tube, this butter paint. This has got some water in it, cream, milk, coffee, etc. And this is how dry or wet your paper is, dry, damp, moist, or wet. So those two things together are going to tell you, I'll take a screenshot. I'll find it or take a screenshot. This is being recorded, by the way. So you can read some of these. I'll send you the link for this video because it's called Watercolor Clock. Anyway, that's how you get this from experience. You get this from just doing. There's no set formula, and each paint is different. Each paint has different size particles. That's the reason some are staining, some aren't. Anyway, so there you go. Does that help?
I think so, but I need
Did that
to
help?
pay more attention to it. I need to look into the application of it more.
Oh, you texted it to me? Oh. Anyway, yeah, Sandy texted me that, so I'll find it.
I also sent an email.
Oh, okay. Add to copy to mail.
It's been a long time.
To
Is this really you? You know, and he, how have you been or something? And I could tell you what, and it's not him. I don't know. Hey.
Okay, I'll include this document that I just got from my email.
So I said to him,
And this is what it looks like. So I'll send you this document. It's 7 pages. So now you will have the complete lowdown on from his book on the watercolor clock. Okay.
Have you taken classes from him, from Joseberg?
No, I went to a couple of demos. I've been to a couple of demos, but I've never taken a workshop. The latest workshop that I took was Andy Evenson.
What about that appealed to you?
Andy, he and I come from kind of the same place. We were both in the illustration business. We talk a lot since then, and he's got a modular thing that I think makes sense. How to paint water, how to paint reflections, how to paint trees, how to paint boats, how to paint this, how to paint that, and then you put them all together into a painting, as opposed to following a step-by-step method. And that's on Artefacto, ARTEFACTO. So I will also put that on. There's lots of artists on there. That's all online workshops, mostly European artists, because it comes from Serbia, I think. But anyway, something might strike you as good. Mac, do you have any questions about what we did this morning?
No, thank you. I think that I'll have to practice a lot more to
Yeah,
get.
it's just practice. As long
Yeah.
as you all get understand the how it's done, that's the important part.
The bullseye, I get. The
Anyway, I'm gonna draw out the, I'm gonna stop this, screen and go back to share. I'm going to, draw out this, swampy scene.
Did you go
So,
back to
here-
record, Joe?
Yes. Thank
Okay,
you for,
thanks.
thank you for, yes, I did. It's been recording. I started recording again with the watercolor clock. But
Yeah,
thanks for asking.
Are you starting, Joe?
Yes. I'm gonna start with a drawing, so you all have time to draw this. And it's not gonna take much drawing. So I have a low horizon line. This is what I'm gonna use for, this is what I'm gonna use for my light source. I've got a low horizon line coming through somewhere in here. I don't want to make a mark on that, but then I've got these trees over here. And I'm just gonna make some got a big tree coming down, a tree, and all this stuff is just like, it really doesn't make a lot of difference, but there's my horizon line right there. And I've got a big bush in the front. And what I've got is I've got this triangle right here. It's not going to be in the middle. It's going to be right there. And that's this. That's my triangle. I've got stuff around it. Yes. Got a smaller one here. Yes. But here's my tree. Here's my big tree is going to go somewhere down through there. I've got a smaller tree coming down through here on that side. And so this is my big, this is my masterful drawing. I don't need any more than that because I'm going to paint most of it. The big deal is to put this big tree, this guy, in the right place. Okay. And this is kind of my shoreline back here. And I'm going to paint, I'll give you a couple of minutes to draw that out. And then I'm going to paint light to dark, top to bottom, wet to dry, all the things that you do because you paint in watercolor. I know you can probably hardly see that, but I'm just following my reference. And the last thing I'm going to paint is this big tree because, why? Because it's the darkest. So I'm just painting a light. Oh, I have blue water. Oh, I have thick blue water.
Can you show the reference somewhere? Because I didn't print them.
Oh, I'll put it to the side.
Okay.
It's in cluster. It's in cluster. It's in the handout. But for those of you who didn't do that, I'll move this over and bring this up. I'll just bring that up. Oh, here, I'll do it. I'll do it another way. There's the reference. There's me.
Is that water?
So that,
Is that water?
what, this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a marsh.
Okay, great.
I mean, it's yeah, it's water. You can see the reflection, the slight
Yeah.
reflections down here. So And I'm gonna get rid of some of this paint, not all of it. I like to paint with a contaminated palette. I'm going to start off painting the light, and I'm going to paint this, I'm going to mix up kind of a color of this. It's kind of a warm, I don't know, raw sienna-ish kind of color. Maybe with a little red in it. And I'm painting fairly, this is kind of coffee or coffee tea. It doesn't make any difference. Anyway, I'm just going to test it and see what it does. So I'm going to just use the tip of this flat brush.
Watch.
And I'm going to just scribble in some stuff that looks like trees.
Uh-oh, I'm gonna get
That's
a
all.
painting partner over here. Come get my painting
sorry?
partner away from me.
Misty, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. This doesn't have to be very much at all. Come here. Just gonna scrub around in here, scribble around, just enough for it to look like trees. I'm gonna add a little purple to that mix that I just had and gray it up a little bit to put these guys in over here. But I want them to stay in the background.
Excuse me,
So
where
I'm
did you
leaving a
put
bunch of these little sky holes.
How did you get that tea looking color?
How did I get what?
Your tea looking color? The ochre.
Raw sienna?
Oh, that's raw sienna.
Yeah, it's not my tea looking color. It is the tea is the
texture.
consistency.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And a little dry brush just to fill out those areas. So that's probably enough for the background. I'm going to use my spray bottle. Is that mine or is that yours? It's
No,
That
this
one's
is
yours,
yours.
yeah.
This is
oh,
yours.
this is mine. Okay. I'm going to re-wet this area right here. You can do this at any time if this is dry enough. I'm going to just spray this slightly right here, right there, because I want to put in a little tone. And I'm going to use the raw sienna and dirty it up a little bit
With purple.
and see if I can just put that in and let that blend down. I don't care about this because that's going to be painted over. I do want it to blend up. So you can re-wet the paper anytime you want. So there, now I soften the edges. Whoopee. I'm going to add a little more darkness to that mix that I have, just to break that background up a little bit. That gives it some depth. Side of the brush really helps. That's plenty. That's plenty. So if you get that far, just it's almost like brushing the paper. That's all. I don't care about any of this in here because I'm gonna be painting dark over the top of it, so no worries. So anyway, that's the way I would start that, and look how that makes that start to glow, and we're even gonna get better with that because of when we put the darks in. I'm gonna lift a little bit right here. I want some of that background to show through. Look how easy that is to do. So I got soft over here because I re-wet it. I can always go back into here. But I'm trying not to overdo it. And I'm holding, look how I'm holding my brush, holding it way at the end.
And which brush are you using? Oh,
I'm just using a flat, but you could use any kind of brush you want. So we got that far. So it's a start. I'm going to leave some of this stuff in, and design wise, I'm going to be removing some of this stuff. So I'm not painting everything that's here. I'm designing, I'm editing. How about that? Don't need to do anything over there. Just gradually making this a little darker. I'm adding a little purple to my raw sienna-ish kind of mix. I'll give that 5 minutes. Want to make sure we have enough time left for the ocean and the waterfall, but I'm going to do the ocean next, just so you know how to do it, and then slap down a waterfall.
Spray. Well,
huh?
did you spray?
Spray with what?
I'm making a kind of a,
We haven't done for that one yet.
that's way too burgundy, but I want to use paint spray and
I don't think so.
Yeah, you did.
I want to make that my dark kind of on the warm side. And
No.
He did, but I didn't because it'll be dry. I didn't want to get there.
very dark down in here. Kind of purpley down here. Make it look wet. Gonna add a little orange. It got left off of my underpainting. Let's put it that way. That's always helps. Using your palette knife. So now I have a good sense of where my lights and the midtones and darks are going to go. Because I added my dark. That's just to make it look liquidy, this little lift. I'll give that a couple of minutes and then I'll put in that tree and it will almost be done. You can certainly go back and we're kind of knocking these out because of the time. But you can always go back, and if you want to do a bigger painting, I'm calling this one a comp. This is my comp to see if I want to do a bigger painting. See how that already starts to make that glow? because of the value difference. By the way, I didn't say this, but if you're not painting and you want to watch, I don't care if you stand over my shoulder. Old days, when I took all those workshops from Nita Engel, I would elbow all these little old ladies out of the way so I could get the best spot.
Mean.
Yeah, I know. I mixed up a combination of Payne's Gray and alizarin because I want this tree to be kind of burgundy-ish. And I'm going to use this brush. And first of all, I'm going to establish where do I want this triangle. I'm going to put that triangle right there. And it kind of goes down like that. And then there's another little triangle that comes up like that. So I established that. And I'm going to, instead of pulling down from the top, when you do trees, if I were doing that, I would do it this way because it's thicker at the bottom and skinny's out. In fact, I wouldn't do it that way. I would do it this way. You are masters of the universe. And because my arm works this way, I'm doing this from the shoulder. I could do that like that. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to push this up from the bottom. I'm going to do that. That way I get a little bit more interesting texture going on. And this other little guy over here, I'm just going to use the very tip of my brush and put him in there like that. And now that I have this established, I'm going to put a reflection in there. So here it is, my reflection. I'm not going to go like that. I'm going to go like this. And then I can go like that. Works much better that way. And a few of those little darks coming in from this side, and especially in this foreground area, stuff in the water here. I'm just picking up that same color again. Also, I can blot a little bit. This I just painted this. See that texture that it's giving you right there. And if it's got some roots, I added some roots on one. And I can do those pretty simply, so I rough that up. My contaminated palette is perfect for this. Just a hint of something going on. That's all going to dry lighter. This little stuff in the water. And now I can actually take that same color. I'm just going to add a little of the raw sienna to it. So now I've got kind of a neutral brown-ish looking color. Using the side of my brush. Just scribbling around. Scribble is a good word, I think. That's all I'm doing. This little tree. It's got some light little stuff at the top. This is a dry on dry. Kind of works. I paint with my finger. Gonna go back and add a few little darks for emphasis as it gets down the tree. And we're pretty much done. And just a touch of orange over here. Now is the time where you can kind of look at this and say, okay, what do I need to do to finish this off? I want that glow to come through just a little bit more. There we go. I want to dirty this side up a little bit, darker in value, as the light's coming from here. a lift, little blot, little whatever, little dance. But the watercolor paint itself, it already gave me some things that I think are better. And then the big reason for the white tape. Taking it off a little soon, and if the paper's damp, it'll tend to tear it slightly, but what the hell? It's a demo. And you could take any one of those little things that we have as far as our backgrounds and turn it into whatever. That makes sense? I mean, it doesn't look exactly like it, but I don't care. I'm not trying to paint exactly like it. If I wanted to do that, I would be an oil painter.
Do you say this is available on, you've recorded it, right? We can get it on Cluster or your website?
I'll send you a link. It won't be on Cluster because Cluster can't handle videos. I'll send you a link to YouTube. It'll be on YouTube tomorrow or the next day. It will be on the Zoom recording, but I can't keep Zooms forever. So I put it on my YouTube channel.
The Cluster, how much does that cost?
It's free.
I saw that it was a charge on, I
No.
thought.
No, I invited you to join. I pay for Cluster. I invited you to join my Cluster folder, my Cluster group. No, I'll always let you know if it's, by the way, so I see something here I want to change or do. And so I have a Prismacolor pencil. I'm just going to darken that slightly, darken this, darken that. Yeah, that made a difference. I didn't have to get out my paint. Little entrance coming down here. I could, yes. Who said that? Did I hear my name? No. Does anybody have any questions on this guy? I mean, we haven't been painting on this that long. You could take these at any size and just knock them out. And say, oh, today I think I'll paint some swamp things, and then I'm going to do a canyon river, and then I'm going to do a figure that's lit by a light from a cafe. You see where I'm going with this? This is just a piece of light that we painted for this. So I could turn this into anything I wanted. I don't know how that goes. I don't care. So I just picked this as a little example. Pretty straightforward, simple painting.
Yeah, I like the light source idea. Just have to, mine's a mess, but I like the light source.
Everything has a light source, so there you go. I could have left some more sky holes over here, but I actually can go back with, look at this. I can go back with, these are pastel pencils. So I've got some of that blue left. This is kind of too wet for that. Let me see if I can. Yeah, that might work. There's some gray pastel pencil. So I could have left a few more of these, what I'm looking at as far as a little negative painting here.
It's
Blend
just
it
so
in,
beautiful.
Nobody will ever tell that you use pastel pencil on this. Just blend it in with your fingers. Cool. Still kind of wet. Anyway, in very shortly, I want to show you how to do the ocean. I gotta hustle a little bit. So you can finish this up at home.
Is that too dry to scrape through?
Is this?
Where you were
Yeah, I
just
did
using
some.
the pencil?
That was no, it's kind of too wet for pastel pencil, and it's already too dry to use your palette knife. I did that when it was damp.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fresh sheet for the.
I'm sorry?
Are you ready for
Should we
that?
get a fresh sheet for the ocean?
Yeah, I want to get started on the ocean so you all get to try
It's
it.
not gonna use the
Sure.
bullseye, right?
We already, this was the bullseye. We did the waterfall. We didn't paint around the waterfall, but we actually did the waterfall. So you can see how that was done. And now I want to show you how the ocean is done. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I want you to get everything. As promised. So this is still recording. I am done with Swamp Thing.
You want to take your reference
Yep.
photo off?
Yep. Okay, I'm just going to open up. I don't think you have to see anything as far as the ocean goes. I'm going to play that video real quick one more time, and shoot. I want to bring this. Okay. Yeah. You don't really need reference for this. This is something that I did a while ago that is using that. These are just photos. So you can kind of see how I did it. And I'm going to give,
Here, you want to shoot?
I'm going to do this first, and I'm going to give each table one of these. You try. And you will have learned a lot by the waterfall about how much is too much. So speaking of how much is too much, this was because I haven't done this, I did that top one quite a while ago, like 10 years ago at least. And so I picked this back up again, and here was my first attempt. So that's pretty pathetic. All I really liked was the rocks, and I put those in super quick. But I lost I oversprayed. I lost everything here. And then I did this one, which was acceptable because I left my whites and I added some darks. I should have waited till it was a little bit drier because I wanted a little bit crisper darks. Contrast makes stuff look liquid. And then I did this guy, and this was better for me because I left a lot more of the white caps, if you will. I connected, this was a paper, this part right here is white paint because I wanted to define this rock shape. And I wanted to connect that a little bit. That's a little bit of white paint. This is a little bit of white paint. And in Nita Ingles' book, if you get it, you will see that she uses white tape. She'll take something like this and she uses white tape to put down as a design
Mask.
tool.
Masking it.
No, no, she didn't mask it. She just puts down white tape. You could use white paper or you could use anything. She just arranges that where she wants the wave to go. And that's going to give her, she's designing.
Yeah, designing it.
And she
Yeah.
takes the tape off later.
Oh, yeah. No, she just uses the white. I don't care if it's tape. I don't care if it's paper. I don't care what it is. Anyway, so those were my stages. And then I just did this one yesterday, which I even like better. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I'm just going to show you the process of how to do that. So is everybody kind of, I'm going to do two of these. I'm going to do one with a syringe bottle, and I'm going to do one with the sticks or whatever else I can find to put paint in. I don't have a pen. If you have a pen, that might work pretty well. I don't know what this thing is, but I think it's gonna soak up the paint. It is I don't know what it is. I don't even know what it's used for. I don't even know why I have it.
Looks like a plate tool almost.
It's a smudge tool or something. Anyway, does everybody just whatever you're doing, just stop for a second and look at this. And you can see her video. I'm going to send you that link to that video, but it only lasts like, I don't know, a couple minutes when she's doing it.
Right.
So,
The ocean one.
It looks like. Okay.
The wave.
I have this flat paper. Is this the right pad? No, I'm going to use this pad. I'm going to use this pad. So this is what we're after. And then you could put that any place you want. You could put palm trees, you could put islands, you could put a beach, you could put a rocky shoreline, you could make it Michigan, you could make it New Zealand, you could make it Cancun, you could do whatever you want to do with it. So I'm using 100% cotton paper, and here's my weapon of choice. Oh, my fingers are horrible. Anyway, all I'm going to do, and this is laying flat, and I don't need my palette. So this is laying flat. I'm going to do a wavy kind of stroke. I'm going to do like that. And then I'm going to, I'm squeezing and picking at the same time.
Are you making contact with the paper?
I'm sorry?
Are you scraping it?
Well, I'm,
yes, on the
I'm
paper.
just squirting paint on it. That's what I'm doing.
I can see.
So there's enough. I'll do a little more like that. So that's enough of that. It's got a lot of paint on there. So now what I want to do is I'm going to pick it up. I want the waves to go in this direction, off in that direction. Now, what I learned from the waterfall is it doesn't take much. And we're at a disadvantage because this is very small compared to a full sheet that she was using. So that already looks to me like it's oceany. It's wavy. Oh, I got a bunch of nice waves in there, I think. I'm gonna run that off.
You see?
I'm gonna run this off. I'm gonna run that off. So I think that's a pretty decent start, actually. Now I'm going to do what she did. I'm going to wet the top of this.
Oh my.
And there's my sky, or my, as she says, typhoon. I just want to touch that a little bit. Look at that. Look at those windswept waves. It's magic.
We're talking,
Look at that.
okay.
I get amazed. I've been doing this a long time and I still love this part of it. I love seeing what it's going to give me. So now I can kind of go back, and I want to make sure that I follow the directions of the wave. So it's going off this way.
Did you mix the blue?
And I'm going to draw a little bit with this. I'm going to try this stick. I'm going to just use a little bit of this paint and make some wavy kind of marks. I'm going to draw right through, so I get some of that paint picked up. There, that looks a little more interesting. I've got a wave breaking over here. That's kind of cool. That's going to be something, I don't know what, that's a big wave breaking right there. That's going to be I could put a rock there. You have plenty of stuff in your reference to figure that out. I'm going to make this a more of a wavy kind of shape. Connect these guys. I love drawing with stuff that you're not supposed to. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I want to connect these shapes, so I'm going to squeegee off some paint. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I'm not, that's still too wet right there, but you see what I'm, you see what that's giving me? That gave me a bunch of pretty cool waves, I think. Yes? No?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
I see it.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, and I can take my brush to this too. I can pick up some of this color that's over here. I'm gonna say I'm going to squirt a little paint right here. There you go. That's perfect. I'm gonna say there's gonna be a wave coming up over here. So I'm just gonna dry brush around that, and I'm going to let this bleed off, because that's a more interesting shape to me. Gonna let that go off.
That's the
So
sky.
that's a more interesting design to me. I'm gonna make this, I could make this a Northwoods Lake, because look at those
Oh,
trees
yeah.
blooming back there. That could be the Lake Superior thing.
Yeah, they have some pretty big waves in the lake.
Yes, they do. Edmund Fitzgerald.
Mhm.
I could make that a field with snow on it.
Mhm.
I could do whatever I wanted to do. And also I'll blot, look, blotting. Look at that. It's pretty cool. Blotting. I could blot, well, I'll just leave it alone. Anyway, that is pretty amazing. I couldn't paint that. I mean, even if I started out to paint something like that, I couldn't do it. So, and
Impossible.
I could put the sailboat, I could put the whatever out there. So anyway, here's your bottle for your row.
I'll take
Take
one.
bottle.
You ready?
They're same, all the same.
No, I know. Did you mix this blue? And mixed with a lot of different blues or?
No,
Did you make it
it's
already?
very
I
Taylor.
think I'm gonna take.
I'm gonna
They're all the same color. I mixed a big cup and I've got, these bottles come with, you get 15 of these bottles. I'll show you. You get, here's what I bought, because I couldn't get the Oiler boilers. I brought 15 pieces set. Comes in all different kind of sizes. And it comes with a little funnel for you to put the paint down in there. I mixed the paint in a cup.
Where'd you get those?
Amazon. If you look under the, if you just put in syringe bottles or Oiler boilers, it's going to give you not only those two, which are Nita Ingalls kind of things. It'll give you a bunch of them. So I should have said that. If you can't get these, get those.
You did?
Yes.
I have.
What brand, what brand, Joe?
There's all kinds here.
Leo
I'll
Grove?
show you.
Tell me.
I'm just going to,
I have other things that I want.
I'm just going to Google, and I'm going to go to my Amazon account, and I'm going to do Oiler boilers. And the reason they're called that is because they're used for, see, look at this. This is a whole set, 5-piece. This is the one that I recommended.
That we're cooking.
These are more, they're used for oiling machinery,
Oh.
or guns or stuff like that.
Camera parts.
Yeah, so there's a ton of these in here. Get 5 bottles.
Actually, I need those for to repair some.
Yeah, so in there, anyway,
Neither
there's a bunch
oiler.
of stuff. Bunch of stuff in there. So anyway, does this make sense what I just did?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Yes.
She's good. They don't show you.
Yes.
A little close.
And I'm just taking what watercolor gives me. So you could, along with that day or 2 hours, along with that day or 2 hours that you spend doing your backgrounds, your bullseye, you could take the next day and spend the same hour, 2 hours and do a bunch of these.
Yeah.
Because it's painting itself. It's constantly changing. Look at this. That wasn't there when I started. Now it's turning into, those are woods back there. And that could be a snowfield, or it could still be the lake. Because I could put some big rocks up here. And I could go get my wave reference, which I gave you in that PDF file.
Joe, 2
I
questions.
gave it to you. You're looking at it here. So here's a bunch of stuff. And for example,
Joe, 2
I'll let you
questions.
get this far, but
Which bottle is better?
Joe,
that one. It's the same as the waterfall. It's a sprinkle. It's a sprinkle or spit bot, and
Are
you'll
you gonna be using it right now?
no, and you'll notice how much white that I left. So I can go back and I can paint some more realistic looking waves if I want. Yes, somebody had a
Yeah.
question?
yeah, for the oiler boiler, do you have to, do you empty it out and flush it? Does it clog? Does the paint clog in it?
I'm sorry, say again.
The oiler,
Say again, Mac.
the oiler boiler, for the 2 questions. What is the consistency of the paint that you use? The water or paint mixture? Thin,
The paint is still cream,
cream?
but I'm gonna say cream on the light side. Because
Okay, light cream.
it's gotta come out of that needle.
Right.
It's gotta
And then-
come out of the needle, so it has to be thin enough to come out of the
Yeah.
needle, but it has to be thick enough for you to be able to put water on it.
Okay, now second question, can you leave
So
the
that's
paint?
the reason I made that color that I used a little darker,
Yes,
not straight out of the tube
Right.
blue. I made it a little darker
okay,
because I knew it was gonna be watery when I got done. Because
good.
I'm adding water, I'm spraying it.
Yeah. Second question, do you leave the paint in the oiler boiler or does it might clog the needle, won't it? If it dries?
It'll leave.
Will it clog?
Did you say it?
Do you leave the paint mixture in the bottle after you finish?
Yes, it comes with a cap.
Yeah, but it
I
doesn't.
mean, that's only good for so long, but it'll be good next week.
Okay, all right.
And you can also put water in that bottle, in that oiler boiler, just clear water. If you've already got a wave started that's wet, you could
Mhm.
have a bottle of a clear water that you could put on top of that, and it's
Yeah.
going to dissipate.
Good, thank you, thank you.
So get her book.
Yeah, I got it, yeah.
If you already have it, at least for me, if you have her book, read it. Because I kept that book forever and I never read it. I just like looking at the pictures.
Okay.
So, but that's me. That's me. If I read, I'd be a lawyer, but I'm not. I don't read, so. Anyway, I'll go back to share the screen and go back to that. So you can see that there's lots of stuff in here using your imagination because you're all masters of the universe, that you could get something out of that. If I were painting, and I'll just do this quickly, I'm painting a rock. Oh my God, look at the color of that rock. So I'm painting a rock, and I'm painting another rock out here breaking over that. I'm going to add some purple to that, or maybe ultramarine. I don't know, just something dark. So there's my dark. There's some dark. That's already dark. I want to make that dark. And now I'm going to take and make rocks.
I even. For a second. I think, I'm not sure.
There are some rocks in there.
Then.
I'll add a little bit of, dirty that up a little bit. Now that rock's gonna be fine the way it is. A little dark on top of that. I can do this because that's wet. If you really want to get the effect, I'm just gonna put that bright blue on there and some blue down here. I don't want this to be active. I want this to go away down here because there's too much contrast. As this dries, now I can really sculpt some rocks. Kind of fun, kind of cool. I'm playing God. So there's some rocks going on in there.
My bottle
Okay, then.
tends to work.
Then.
I go back and I can add some darks later on,
What
which
did you do? 'Cause I kinda
I
like
want to
it.
do right through here.
Wow.
Be right through there. Kind of got the light coming from this side. See how that paints itself? Kind of fun. Has anybody tried any of the tools, things? I don't know if you all have the bottles, but you all will have the bottles. If you choose to keep going with this.
I used the alcohol inks in that little bottle and that worked great.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
The bottle of the eyedropper. Yeah, here's what she's talking about. All these bottles of ink come with this. Oops, wrong bottle. All these bottles of ink you can get that you probably have in your collection of art stuff. These could work. I did that the other day. These could work, these nibs or eyedroppers, if you will. I don't know, Zoni, you said you were using
Yeah, I use it for the dropper. I
And it
use it for
works?
the other painting too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it now.
I can actually paint with this. You know, I can put color on there, color on there.
You need this?
Great.
That looks rocky.
That's what he did.
It's great.
Really nice.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
Yep,
Yeah.
very.
Now I could make those, I'm gonna let that dry a little bit, but I'm gonna make those waves really light up because I'm gonna paint the sky a value. I'm gonna go wash my, you
Yeah.
guys should wash my hands.
Yeah. Any suggestions of, I kind of lost what you were doing. I kind of like it, but
Well,
is it supposed to be dark in the background too? Or?
there's nothing that's supposed to be.
I don't
It's all just imagination.
real nice. I don't know if I can like it.
My sense
No.
was so bad.
I already have some now, so let's
Get
get
rid
rid
of
of
control, yeah.
Yeah, nice. You think you scraped it?
Isn't that?
He was
it
scraping
looks
when
like
it
a
was wet.
snowstorm.
A little bit. I mean, I'm overdoing it, but
But when
But what-
scratched the needle, I
there's
realized
there's
it's
no
not like
supposed to
it.
be. It's just
Guess I learned something.
It's hard not to overdo it.
I don't like this.
It's a-
You don't like this thing?
No, I'll challenge you on
Fine.
that.
We'll do it again. This looks like a mess. I'm kind of over it.
Slow motion. I need to see it filmed.
See what those blue things are supposed to be. Like I said, my bottle's so bad it screwed it up. Is the shadows
Of the wave.
of the waves, the underneath.
Yeah. The shadows, yeah, under the waves. Okay.
But this just turned into a gigantic mess. It's abstract. And you can say that again.
It shows up.
Yes.
Yep.
That's what my is.
I like the way they did this raw. It's. This one. Then you put rocks in. That's nice. My water here with this.
What is
Okay, now it's shaping up, but I still don't like this. Paintbrush one.
Notes. That's more what you want. It's laugh at your. Because look what he's doing. He's forming rocks around some of maybe what one person would call a mistake. It's all a mistake if you don't learn.
I'm constantly making mistakes. Need to look at waves more. Yeah. I woke up to my son. It's
I need a double now.
You done?
Well, it's still going, but
Your masterpiece.
well, pretty awful so far.
I'll move the shape.
This last one here is probably the best one.
So I just made those waves white. And another thing I can do too is where I don't want it to be, I want to center on something. Say I want to center on this area right here, is I'm going to just
See, that was
twist
the
this a
study
little
in
bit.
doing like the background to create a light source in the back. And that's not a very good painting, but the idea,
That looks a little grotesque.
yeah, of having, well, it's not done, but of having that light through the foreground. All right, so that's.
This part is the best.
Where
If you draw a
where
circle,
we can hear,
that's the best.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's that. And then this one's turning out pretty good.
Well, that one, I like that. You put that one face down underneath your paint table.
Put it upside down.
Exactly.
we can hear your critique art session.
Oh, sorry.
I just
have a
wanted to let
critic
you
at
know.
home. You're coming through on the critic
Oh,
list. here.
sorry about that.
It's fine.
No worries. See how I added this to make these white. This will go away when it's dry. And I also killed some of these things along the edges because I wanted the center, the most contrast is where you're going to look first in this area up here. I haven't decided what to do, but I don't care. Maybe this is done. I mean, maybe it's done. So who knows? What's your style like? So I can go back and add a few darks for emphasis. But I think that's a fairly natural, I don't know, fairly natural setting. Maybe quiet the red down a tad. But anyway, that's a nice little painting to be done or to just put in a drawer and look at later.
How about a closet?
Huh?
All the way in the back, as far as I can put it. It's in front of it, and shut the door.
And if it's really puddled,
That's funny.
just leave it because it, it flows.
Good blot it.
See what you get by that little sweepy stroke is you get this little bubbly stuff happening like the waterfall, but you also get that deciding which direction, picking it up, being master of the universe, letting it run off. So anyway.
Great.
You're having fun. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm gonna get away from it before I ruin it.
Yeah. That's why I suggest if you're having, that's cool. If you're having issues with putzing or touching or overworking, paint two paintings at the same time and work back and forth between it. You'll have the same palette. They're both going to be different, especially this one. This one's going to be different every time. So,
Can you do the rock again? I like the way it looks, but I don't know. I don't remember. how you did
the water,
the
the,
red rock.
did I do the rocks? You want me to do the rocks again?
Or tell me how you did it.
Okay. Let me put this over here and I will show you how I do rocks or like to do rocks. So here's, I'm gonna put this down first. I'm just gonna put down some color and I want it to be kind of a brighter color. So I'm gonna use, oh, you okay?
Sorry.
So here's a rock.
I'm staying, so I'm not going to move.
Yeah, here's a rock and I'm gonna put some color in there.
I'm not going to move. Watch the rock. Susie's trying to kill us.
I'm gonna put some nice color in that rock. And I don't have to be too careful with it. So that's a pretty colorful rock, right? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So in fact, while it's wet, I'm going to do a little bit of that with it, which isn't going to show. So there's another rock or there's something going on down here. I don't know what it is. There's a rock sitting in the boonies. So I gotta dry that.
You gotta dry it.
Got pretty light. That's what watercolor does. But I do still have some bright color in there. So now I'm going to, I've got my colored rock. And now I'm going to put some, I'll put some darky kind of, I'll put some of this burgundy kind of dark color on top. So look at this. So I'm going to put that dark color on top. And now I can paint my rock. Look at it go back to that color that's underneath.
Again, but it has to be dry, but.
Do you see how it went back to the color underneath?
Oh, see. Oh, no, oh, see.
I'm just putting some dark on top. So I can paint a bright color and then I can paint a dark color on top of that once that bright color is completely dry. And I can squeegee or scrape back to that color underneath. See, I'm almost there, or that color underneath. It's slightly tinted, but anyway, there's a, that help you?
Yep. Thank you.
Look at that. It's a rock.
I'll save it for other parts. Just have, I feel too, make sensitive.
I thought I was so clever and saving.
At the studio next door, there's a whippet.
Oh, geez. I forget when I put fresh paint in here and then I've got, all of a sudden I've got a big blob of stuff happening. I don't know what this is. I'm just making it up. This is the fun part for me.
Why I don't take for the plant. But it's great for this process.
Definitely need practice.
I'm done. Okay.
Yeah. It's no doubt.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
Thank you. I think you get the idea. Anyway, it's not to this because we came in so tight on it, but I think you guys can figure out how to do that. This is kind of the bullseye,
Wow.
only I went side to side. It's in the reference. This is kind of the bullseye, went side to side, start off yellow, orange, pink, red, blue, purple, purple, blue. And so there's a light source. It's picking a little bit up there, picking a little bit of up there, and it's framing the waterfall. It's framing the waterfall with these diagonals. So it's in reference. So this one was a lot tighter. I mean, close up, more close up. So anyway.
Yes, see, if you look here.
Let's see.
Titanic, it's got.
Yeah, it's like. I really like this.
So you could take any one of these that we did today. There's my close up of the
Did a lot of stuff today.
close up of the waterfall. Somewhere in there, maybe I like that cutting off. I like the little white at the top. So there's that guy is going to go dry someplace. We did this guy. So there's your,
Wow.
there's that guy. And we did, where's my, what happened to my, oh, here it is. This one's not done yet, but putting a mat on it will help me figure out how to get it done. So I think it's somewhere in here. That's what I like. These rocks are going to have to be much darker to give you the entry into the painting. I think I'm going to do something in that area.
Oh, wow.
So there's
That's
that guy.
good.
Here's that simple rock we just did, just a nice little vignette painting. Just add a couple more rocks, add a bird, add some leaves. Showed you that one.
You have to keep.
What else did we do? Well, we did, we started off with that.
Anything you want,
Anyway.
we have some, samples on them.
Yeah, we started off with this. I don't know where this is gonna go, but I kind of like cut those rocks off a little bit more. Somewhere in there that could be just done. You know, so anyway. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Thank you. I love the yes. So do we have questions? I'm going to get out of this and I'm going to go back to this. And do we have any questions? I'm going to send you a link for PBO. I'm going to send you the watercolor clock. I'm going to send you a link to Artifacto, maybe if I can find one. Anything else? Can you see how you could apply these three techniques? The bullseye. I don't know why that's my camera's out of whack. I don't know. I think you could apply these three techniques, the bullseye or whatever it is, ellipse, I showed you that one video of her doing the just a squiggly.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could apply that to any painting. This ocean painting with a squirt bottle. Depending on what you like to paint, it could make a great background for figures. It could make a lot of fun for landscapes, obviously, be it land, snow patches, or ocean, or water, or lake. And the waterfall is just nothing more than that bubbly, it's almost a controlled spatter, if you will. But you can do a lot more with it than just spatter stuff sporadically. Spatter sporadically. Say that 10 times really fast. Anyway, I know. Anyway, does that give you guys something to work on? If you're in doubt, please get her book. Yes.
Joe, on the bullseye.
Ursula, hi, Mac.
Hi there. On the bullseye.
Yes.
I noticed that.
I'm sorry?
On the bullseye, Nita Leland's demo shows that she keeps moving the paper and spraying till the whole of the yellow gets quite dim. But in some of your paintings, the bullseye, the yellow part is pretty bright. So I don't know, do you keep them separate?
It's just a matter of the water to pigment ratio.
Yeah.
Mine just was brighter because I used more paint.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
And you can't tell by this monitor. You can't tell by what you're seeing on Zoom.
Right.
It's true.
Because it either blows it out or makes it more. It's a nice painting you got on the table back there. So it works.
Good.
I mean, I think that the bullseye technique, just that light source, will work for you.
Yeah.
Will work for any subject.
Yeah. No, thank you.
So remember all those test sheets that I did with the different colors? So those were all different values too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joe, I really liked the session. And I was waiting. The reason I signed up was because of the water that you demonstrated. I really like that.
Oh, good.
I love the bullseye too.
And I'm going to use it for landscape as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
I love them all. So beautiful.
Yeah, I think you guys can use any one of these three and combine them in combination too. I mean, I could have started that ocean painting off on one of those lit backgrounds.
Yes.
Those bullseye backgrounds.
That's yes.
So,
To me, the bullseye I probably use the most. I really like what that did, not only on our kind of scenery, but on the buildings too.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I agree. It's just so beautiful.
It's for any light source.
Yeah.
Any light source. Oh, very good.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Very nice.
Even though it's a little dark, it still works.
Hold it up again, Carol, so I pinned you. There you go. See, look at that.
It's amazing.
It's pretty dramatic.
Yes.
So
I did it the reverse of yours because where my light spot was on the lower left or upper right. So my brain was going, let's see, what am I doing?
Yeah, there you go. By the way, do not forget that there's a follow-up to this with the water resist for painting those fields of wildflowers, stamping, which is important because there are in a lot of her paintings, you just can't tell that they are. And more of the I'll call it the squirt bottle. Instead of the syringe, I'll call it the squirt bottle. Anyway, I'll let you know.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know when already? Do you know when, Joe?
It's either gonna be next month or the month after, probably
Okay.
next month,
All right.
but I'm not sure. Okay. Any
Thank
other
you, Joe.
questions? Mimi, you good? Thank you.
No, you know what? You always inspire me to go off on a tangent now, which I love. You don't teach me how to paint. You don't teach me how to
Yeah,
paint
it's
like a pic. Yes, it's like you're very inspiring. Thank you.
good, good. It's called ADD.
Oh yeah, I think I have that too.
Yes, it's ADD.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, it works for me.
that's what
Thank
I was.
you.
Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, guys,
Thank you.
Thank you very
see ya.
much.
Okay, you'll have the, I'll take some pics and you'll have the stuff tomorrow, hopefully. The recording, or at least the Zoom, is going to take a while to process. I haven't even stopped it yet. So, anyway, I'll see you down the road.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Good
Bye-bye.
good to see you guys.